Do we need to do a roll call, Mr. Clerk? No, you got it? Okay. Well, I don't have any comments other than winter is here. Yay. I love it. Let's see. We need to do approval of the minutes from October 21st, or we don't have them? We don't have them. Or do we?
No, Liz, the minutes were sent out, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, they were? Okay. I'll take a motion then to,
Motion to approve the minutes, October 21st.
thank you, ma'am. Thanks. All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any public comment this morning? One? No, we have none. Okay. Got to get back into having a real meeting in person and all that. I'm looking at the screen going, where's all the Zoom people? We're not Zooming today, so. Okay, our first item is a presentation from Destination Analyst.
And actually, Madam Chair,
Okay.
we are not having that from Destination Analyst. That is one of those results of travel restrictions by her home state. And Erin let us know, I think it was on Monday, that she is not able to travel because she would have to quarantine for 2 weeks after the fact.
Sorry, looking at the wrong.
Yeah, no, that's all right. But I think that's a great segue into, what we're hearing and what we're seeing happening right now within the pandemic world and how it's affecting everything. So, Madam Chair, if you don't mind, we'll just go right to the department updates because that'll go right to Leroy and what we're talking about. So.
Perfect. Okay.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Not nearly as cute as Aaron, but you're stuck with me to cover some of the latest traveler sentiment research. We're going to run through a number of other items as well. Obviously, excited to continue our work with Destination Analyst. We're going to try and get her back here potentially in January at that point to give you a deeper dive with her on site. She will be participating in an industry webinar we have tomorrow for those who want to tune in.
Can I interrupt you for just a second? I should have done this before. I have to welcome our new member, Melinda Pletcher from St. Pete Beach. She is replacing Cookie Kennedy. And we have some people who have been reappointed. I'm sorry, I'm just, Mayor Hibbert, Mayor Kreisman, Mayor Bajowski, Tony Satterfield, Tricia Rodriguez, and Mike Williams. So welcome back. Thank you so much for volunteering again. That was it. That was supposed to be my comments. So.
Well, welcome. And I'm remiss to mention in the same room with you all and not on a Zoom, which is obviously a little different here. But I'm going to run through some of the latest traveler sentiment. This is their 36th wave. We've brought you a number of these updates throughout the last 8 months, somehow 8 months now. You're going to be able to guess where a lot of this data is going to show it's going. Again, this is just a little bit of a reminder of what their methodology and process is every week. They release this data every Tuesday morning, so this is as fresh as it gets. Obviously, we all know the state of the pandemic, cases rising across the country, and thus the data that we're going to see, and won't continue to beat a dead horse throughout, but you're going to see these same trend lines. And you can see after what was a really positive last month plus, obviously that concern level about contracting COVID is increasing. And what that's doing is increasing the concerns around travel. This is expectations for the coronavirus course in cold weather. So again, that moving in the wrong direction. How much do you agree with the following statement? I expect it will thrive. It's increasing 8 percentage points in just 2 weeks, which is a pretty large increase. Again, why do we care about all of that? Because it affects how people think about traveling. And you can see, again, when we talked about this at the last board meeting, it was at 5.7, higher than when the pandemic started, and the second highest level during this whole event. And that's obviously well below that mark now and headed in the wrong direction. This is one we pay very close attention to because this is what we do. We inspire travel through marketing, our marketing efforts, the openness to being inspired to travel, going the wrong way. And again, after some pretty good, the peak just a month ago at 5.6. Again, they're using their an 11-point scale here and the people that they survey throughout every week. Another aspect that's being revealed through all of this is travel guilt. So how I would feel guilty traveling right now, by far, obviously there's a good number of people who are neutral on this topic, but by far more people agree with this this concept of travel guilt than not. And again, affecting the behavior and booking trips because they feel like they would be contributing to the health crisis in a negative way. And then this is, what we just spoke about with Aaron, unable to make it here in real time. In the span of a week, changes to travel plans due to this increase in cases, dropping almost 6 percentage points in this, up 6 percentage points, I should say. The blue line, yes, have you canceled or postponed? So again, not positive for us, not good for the travel and tourism industry anywhere. As the health crisis worsens, travel plans cancellations are going up. And some would say, duh, but I think it's important to see these numbers, especially these jumps from just a 1 week period of time. Some of the items I did want to shed some light on that are encouraging of sorts. And this is how much do you agree with this statement? The coronavirus has led many travel providers to cut their prices. These discounts and price cuts make me more interested in traveling in the next 3 months. And you can see, kind of despite the concern and health concerns, people are saying yes, discounts and price cuts will interest me in traveling in the next 3 months. That's almost at a high, and I apologize, that is kind of far off on the right side, but that trend is going up. And so, maybe that's a little bit of an incentive when you look at from a marketing standpoint. And I know I'm going to touch on our Travelzoo campaign in a moment, incentivizing people with deals and refundable rates, trying to make sure that you're leaning into this trend line and that people, despite the slides we just saw, there's concern is rising. They don't want to be inspired as much as they did a month ago, but give me a price cut or a discount, that's going to interest me more than not in the next 3 months. And then to close with this slide, which I think, as we've looked at this data over the last 8 months, unfortunately, it keeps getting pushed back and back and back, right? So as we've worked through 2020, December and November were pretty high at one point in time, but you can see as the unknown timing of a vaccine and what winter is truly going to hold, most of the travel plans are sometime late in 2021. But you still see some opportunity there in March and April, which are traditional heavy travel months. So that's some of the thumbnail on where the research is going. I will say, in spite of that, we feel like there's an opportunity and still a place for us in the marketplace to be marketing using the right contextual and behavioral targeting to bring business here to Pinellas County, especially because of winter, right? A time when we know that they can't spend much time outside. So I'm going to run through our digital marketing plan for our winter recovery efforts. And I wanted to start we start all of our marketing conversations at a foundational level of what are our objectives. And very simply, we boil that down into three areas that align really well with the marketing funnel. And that being, top of funnel awareness, engagement, mid funnel, and then, getting people here, getting people to convert, book rooms, spend money in the destination. And so those are the three main objectives for what you're going to see laid out here. What I don't go into detail on in this plan are these efforts. These are ongoing efforts. I've covered these quite a lot over the last 6 months, but you're not going to see these spins outlined and the efforts outlined because they're always on, and like I said, we've touched on them. Sojourn, conversant, low funnel, we talked about that converting travelers, really using heavy travel and tender targeting to make sure we're reaching the right people at the right time when they're ready to book. Custom programs like Travelzoo and Expedia, I'm going to give a brief update on where Travelzoo sits. And then our search and social, always on. These tactics are ongoing right now and will continue to move as we roll out these additional efforts that I'm going to touch on. So again, as relating back to those goals and objectives at the beginning there, those three areas, the awareness, the engagement, conversion, you can see where those tactics on the left side fall within this funnel. A lot of those already ongoing efforts are in that bottom half, or the bottom third. A lot of these efforts I'm going to talk about fall in more of the upper funnel as we move into, and you can see some of the KPIs on the right side there. Come on, clicker. Maybe. Clicker issues here. I don't know.
Well, while you're trying to do that, what is a KPI?
A key performance indicator.
Okay.
So truly what we're measuring to try and make sure that the media is having success. This is who we're going after. Again, I can't emphasize enough that bottom item. Really, given a time like this, they need to, the targeting is more important than ever. So need to make sure that they're falling in line with not just our brand, but also in the moment to travel, thinking about traveling, looking for a beach product, and where. So we are, on the digital side, skewing 75% of our budget out of state. You can see what those markets look like. Katie, at the last TDC, shared what our origin markets were looking like based on arrival list data. That's where these markets have come straight from. You can see, most notably, the Northeast is missing for us, and there's many reasons for that. But we've leaned heavily on our data sets, not just traditional visitation data, but what we've been seeing over the last 8 months, and really trying to understand new visitor origin patterns based on traveling during the pandemic, and heavy Midwest. And not surprisingly, a lot of these markets align with where Allegiant services as well. Yeah, certainly questions throughout.
Of those areas, are any of those states requiring 14-day quarantine when they return?
That is a very good question and a very moving target. Some cities are doing that from time to time. I know Chicago has had some, from time to time, some influence or some restrictions come and go. I think, how we're approaching that is we have weekly calls with our agencies, and we're monitoring that situation. The great thing is, with these efforts that I'm particularly outlining, we can pause instantly depending on that situation. As well as we know that we're not just trying to influence travel tomorrow or next week, but many months ahead. And so that speaks really well to what U.S. Travel's doing at the national level. Let's go there, which is it's a planning campaign, and I think that's an important dynamic in here as well. While some of that certainly is low funnel, it's not all travel, next week, for instance. But we are keeping a close eye on it. I can't tell you exactly which markets have a restriction or not on the spot here, but we are keeping a close eye on that. And I apologize about the H missing on your.
I noticed that.
Jeez.
Really noted.
Sorry, Tony. Pittsburgh missing an H. It's my fault. So again, some alignment there, quite a bit of alignment with those what I would call, they're primary markets on here, but secondary Midwestern markets that we are prioritizing heavily. And Indianapolis and Cincinnati are two that you'll hear a lot from Katie about coming up in a bit. Timing-wise, I've got printout media plans that I was going to share during the marketing subcommittee, but this is what the timing looks like for these programs as we roll them out. Again, you can see kind of the always-on tactics, the ongoing tactics on the top part, but these new wintertime tactics starting up next Monday and running through March. So this is what I'm going to run through real quick. I'll try to make this brief. We've got quite a bit of effort slated. Connected TV is one of those big places, to run alongside any traditional TV for the cord cutters out there. Hulu is the biggest player in the space. But we are also what Basis is. Basis allows us to programmatically target a number of other connected TV options, right? So the space is very, very fragmented, the connected TV space. There's a lot of vendors, a lot of platforms. And so Basis allows to reach a large swath of them. Hulu, given they're the biggest in the space, gives them an opportunity there. So you can see our connected TV spend concentrated in fly markets only. This is just a little bit more on Basis. Like I said, Sling, SpotX, Roku, the different providers. Hulu, something new that we're doing on Hulu this year is called their Premium Slate. The chart on the right shows the ad recall and the ad effectiveness when you pair their Premium Slate with a traditional 30-second spot. And that's what we're doing, that green bar on the right. And I'm going to show you the 7-second Premium Slate. Picture yourself at home. You're about to watch your favorite show, whatever that might be. And before you get to that, because you don't pay for the premium on Hulu, you have to watch a sponsored Premium Slate. And this is what ours is going to be rolling into programming.
Presented by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, home of America's best beaches.
So we get 7 seconds. It's in and out. Obviously, we want to put our best foot forward with, again, thinking about time of year, cold weather, beaches. Here's some, just nice,
Presented by
beautiful
Visit
water,
St. Pete
calm
Clearwater,
scene, no
home
one
of
in it.
America's best beaches.
And then also during that show that they're watching, they're going to see our 2 15-second spots as well to, again, hammer that message home. Some additional efforts we're rolling out are rich media, and I'll explain a little bit more what that's about. A number of these providers, their Jun Group is based on reward advertising. So to consume an ad spot on your phone, you get X number of hours free of ads. So if you don't participate in the ad, then you're going to keep seeing ads over and over and over. So this would be in a mobile app setting. This is just mock-up creative. We are finalizing the creative right now, but it's self-selecting. So A, if you participate, which you then get to block ads for the next period of time. B, you get to choose what content you're interested in. Jun Group has been one of the best performers for us over the last 2 or 3 years, and we're going to continue with them. We see great success pushing people back to the website to consume content of what exactly they're interested in. It's not just giving them what we think they want. They get to choose. In addition, this is a new one for us. We did a pilot with them in TripAdvisor, but we've worked closely with Threshold 360. They're actually a startup. We're a tech startup out of Tampa. They've grown pretty rapidly. creating 360 video tours of the destination and photo tours. And what we can do now, they've developed technology, we can embed those into ads. And so we can take, whether it's Honeymoon Island or the St. Pete Pier, put it in one of these ads, and somebody will spend minutes, not seconds, but minutes with these ads because they can actually click and drag and move around a space to really get the feel for it. And one last one is Undertone. You can see, again, this is just example creative from another destination from the vendor, but Undertone, these are super high impact. We haven't done a lot of this in the past because they're what we would call forced impressions. When you're browsing the web and there's an ad that comes over the screen and you have to close out of it, it's disruptive, right? That's why we don't like them a ton. However, we have discovered a couple ad units that are really beautifully done, and we're going to roll those out. As you scroll the page, the ad reveals itself and then disappears, that type of treatment. So you can see some of those examples there. We're finalizing our creative, like I mentioned. Additionally, we're still participating with Visit Florida and its co-op retargeting off of the site traffic from visitflorida.com. And then this is something new that I'm really excited about. You guys know how much I love data. This is a brand new offering. It's something that shout out to Miles, who is instrumental in putting this plan together and helping us execute this, first of all. But this Visa Economic Impact Measurement product has never been used by anybody. It's brand new, developed by Miles in partnership with Visa. Visa has a product right now that you can tell credit card spend by anybody who came into the market, right? So they sell us data that shows this is what percentage of people from Indiana spent on hotels, or pick your category, retail shops or gas or literally anything. That's very traditional product. What this is new, and we get a bit of this data from Conversant, but it's a little bit proprietary of theirs. What we're able to do now is tag our ads in a way that Visa is now going to send us back data that shows Mr. Kreisman saw an ad and showed up in destination and spent X number of dollars on his Visa in these categories. Now, of course, it doesn't say Mr. Kreisman. It's aggregate data. But it is very specific to those who were exposed to our advertising, arrived in market, and spent in market. Very excited about this, and because it's Visa, obviously the scale of this data is going to be quite large, and hopefully, so all of the efforts you just saw, we're implementing this measurement tool on, as well as our other measurement tools. So hopefully in 3-4 months, I'll be back here sharing all of the spend data that we gathered from these efforts. And we can say, you know what, this provider, this platform, this vendor didn't really perform like we had hoped. They're out. We're not going to use them over the next year, the next 6 months, or whatnot. So really gives us a great opportunity to be able to measure exactly how our media is performing. This is how that budget breaks down. Again, you're not going to see the ongoing efforts here. The search, social, Travelzoo, those pieces aren't here. This is specifically the winter recovery. And how that breaks down by tactic. Again, I've got printed digital media plans I'm happy to give you in a bit. It's a bit of an eye chart, so get the magnifying glass ready. Travelzoo, wanted to hit on this. You guys have heard me talk a lot about this campaign. I think it's one of our best efforts because it truly takes bed tax dollars and generates bookings for sure. We can track it. These are the results. We've got about 40% of our paid spend left with Travelzoo. A reminder, we cover all the commissions and all the marketing associated with this campaign, with this program. We currently have 13 hotels live, and 2 attractions are about to go live, Empower Adventures in Oldsmar and Clearwater Marine Aquarium. We approached a couple others, and for different reasons, they didn't want to participate, which is fine. But you could see some of the page performance, and then more specifically, what I care most about, the booking activity. How many bookings are we driving? So with about 40% of our paid promotion left on the digital side, we've generated more than $275,000 in gross bookings. You can see the average daily rate, pretty significant. Most people, when they think about Travelzoo, they think about it being, too much of a discount or too low of a bar, and thus they don't participate. But oftentimes, those who book will add on or extend, and it creates a very quality economic impact for us. I will note, and Katie may touch on this in a bit, because of this activity, we are going to be tagging a lot of our traditional efforts with calls to action pushing back to the Travelzoo landing page. So excited about that, being able to roll this into both our digital advertising and our traditional marketing to generate more bookings for our hotels participating in this. I'm almost done, I promise. You all have heard me talk about key data and TravelClick quite a bit over the last 6 months, 8 months. 2 new data providers for us. I've got more exciting data related to one today than the other, but as a reminder, key data, for several years, we're leveraging AirDNA. We are replacing that provider with key data. One of the reasons, there's a couple reasons why. One is that key data actually ties directly into vacation rental property management systems. AirDNA does not do that. AirDNA simply scrapes its data from the internet and packages it. Key data also does that, but they also, if you're not using Airbnb or VRBO, we can tie that property management system into key data and be able to track, as an aggregate of the performance of those. So currently, key data is pulling from those OTA sites, online travel agency sites of VRBO and Airbnb. But they're also, within Pinellas County, pulling from 12 properties totaling more than 1,100 units. So we're getting a better picture of the vacation rental market. Not only that, but they adjust their data. AirDNA, we were noticing during the pandemic that the data wasn't as reliable as we'd hoped because they weren't removing cancellations and rental owner stays and maintenance holds. Key data is able to do that, and it gives us a much truer occupancy level for these units that the owner may be staying in or it's under maintenance. Also, it gives us great forward booking data, and I've got some slides to share with you. We are going to be doing an industry onboarding webinar 2 weeks from tomorrow for vacation rental property management groups to hopefully build, grow from the 12 properties totaling more than 1,100 units to increase that pot. The property management groups get data. They get free data by participating in the program. So we'll definitely, we're going to be sending out an industry invite to that for vacation rental groups to participate to make sure that the data we're looking at is as complete and whole as possible. Here's some of that data based on those inputs that we have. It's a roller coaster if you can't tell, but this is, so from the 1st of November looking through the 1st of May, the darker line is this year, the lighter line last year. And if you are getting dizzy from the lines, you can simply look at the numbers at the top. Year over year in the same period, looking forward, this is occupancy over the next 6 months. We're trending about 7% behind. Last year, that same time frame, year over year, was about 42%. We're at about 35%. So not too bad, I would say. And you can see there's a couple moments in time where this year is actually outperforming the year over year line. I will note all of this data confirms what we've been seeing. The vacation rental market is strong, much stronger than the hotel market. There is and the research backs this up, that people are feeling more comfortable having their own unit, not being in these, in maybe having to go into a lobby per se, a traditional lobby. So a lot of this data confirms some of that. Here's ADR. So over that same time frame, what the average daily rate is, and you can see almost entirely outperforming the same time frame year over year, 202 versus 179. as an average through that time period. Again, really strong indication there. And then RevPAR, slightly behind, but you can see some of that, some of the positive showing through there. Here's canceled nights. So this is, again, something we talked about, AirDNA not being able to provide us. Obviously, during times like this, cancellations they're a big deal. There's a lot of rooms being booked and then being pulled out. That was, a big part of our delay in launching the Travelzoo campaign, because great, you can generate a ton of bookings, but in the end, how many actually stick to the wall? And with refundable rates and all of those things, which are great, they're incentivizing people to book, but what's on the books in the end? And you can see, obviously, the trend lines there in cancellations, and already, early 2021, feeling that cancellation hurt more than the year-over-year line. This is data that we're going to continue to track, share with you all, and integrate into Google Data Studio, which I teased last month. Again, this is just a little look at the sample that it's pulling from just about every pocket of Pinellas County with vacation rentals. The other data company is TravelClick. I don't have great slides for you to share on this, unfortunately. We're still in the early stages of getting this up and running, and we took a look at some of the data yesterday, and it was just a bit incomplete to feel comfortable trotting out. And you can see some of the highlights here, one of the big reasons we're so excited about this is we're going to be able to see what forecast with a quality product by segment and by channel. We are also doing an onboarding webinar with TravelClick as well that same day, Thursday, December 3rd. It is a different audience. It's not for vacation rentals, but for our independent hotels to join. You can see a lot of the large brands that they have tying into the product already, but we want to make sure our ocean properties of the world, the Tradewinds of the world, Seratas, Bilmars, et cetera, have an opportunity to join this effort, improve the data that we see, but also they get a data product back for participating, the Birchwoods of the world as well. So on Thursday, December 3rd, we will be, again, sending out an invite to both of these webinars. Again, two different audiences, but hoping to improve that pool of data, the pool of participants, to improve the data. One last thing, really, really cool effort here, and thanks, real quick, a thank you to Jeffrey Fowler, who's our in-house data expert, and he's been managing, and Terry, very closely, TravelClick and Key Data. There's contracts involved and quite a long process, so thank you to both of them. Want to roll into one final effort of ours from our team, a St. Pete Pier virtual tour that we had last month, and I'm going to set it up here real quick, and then they're going to toggle to a video. Appreciate Mayor Kreisman's participation in this effort. It was absolutely incredible, and can't thank Mackenzie on my team enough for putting all the legwork in and pulling this off. This screenshot you're seeing, and we're going to play a video in a moment, but the screenshot you're seeing is obviously the bending arc and the artist, Janet Eckelman, who created the sculpture, the moving, alive sculpture at the pier. Our challenge on the media side is bringing people into the destination. That's what we do normally all the time. We host media familiarization trips, fam trips, bringing journalists in to experience the destination, oftentimes blowing them away, not expecting our destination to be what it is, and going back and writing stories for publications around the world. Obviously, we're not doing that right now to the scale that we would normally, and really very, very little of it right now. So Mackenzie, myself, our New York PR firm came up with this idea. You know what, let's do a virtual tour of the St. Pete Pier. We're going to walk them through the experience and then have our VIP guests on be able to talk very specifically about what you're seeing. And again, huge shout out to Mackenzie. Marcus on our team, on Katie's team, was amazing at creating the video you're actually going to see. And thank you to Katie and Marcus for helping us with this project. Pete, if you wouldn't mind rolling the video a little bit, we're just going to play a little bit of it so you get the feel of what the experience was, and then I'll share some of the results and who was watching. It was an absolute home run, and our New York PR firm has tried this with a couple other destinations. It just hasn't worked out as well as it did for us, and you're going to see a little bit here. Oh. I'm just going to hit back a couple times and we'll get to it. There we go.
Flavor of what it is to be in St. Pete, a haven of small and local businesses. It also features some of our other murals throughout our city and invites you to go and see those as well. St. Pete is home to many small businesses, and we thought it was very important to add those businesses and that flavor and flair to the Pier experience. Overhead, and you can see the shadows cast, is a solar array of panels that provides energy to the Pier and is one of the many ways that we have been able to be energy efficient. Other sustainable features at the Pier include eco-trams and charging stations, new breakwaters that mitigate erosion and protect seagrass beds, a coastal
so you can see this is a first-person
and our playground is
walkthrough of the Pier. We make
materials.
5 or 6 stops, and here directly from, obviously this is Deputy Mayor Tomlin giving, a very local perspective, and I apologize, Mayor, I hit record late on the Zoom. You gave a great introduction of the history of the Pier and had a great piece and part to this, and unfortunately I didn't get it on the recording. And also then after kind of that first person experience of walking through the Pier came a bit of what we called a sizzle reel. So a little bit more of a polished highlight reel of items in that area, the experience in that area of the Pier. And you can see Mackenzie there kind of transitioning. Again, mind you, this is all real time on Zoom with 25 plus media members and seven other speakers. You're good, Pete. So we featured Tampa Bay Watch Discovery Center. We featured Doc Ford's. We went down to the pier head and enjoyed a cocktail at the rooftop. And if we can get back to the slides, I'll show you some. Thank you, Pete, so much. Show you a little bit of who was there. I mean, it's a who's who of media outlets and freelance writers. A lot of times when you hold these events, there's a lot of drop off, both in person and virtual. We only had 2 people not show, which was a testament to the work our New York PR firm did, but also we included media mailers. So we found through doing this, you got to make them feel a little guilty if they don't show up, right? So we send them a care package in advance and we tell them, don't open this until we start the event. And then at every stop that we stopped and talked about, we had something in the box that corresponded. You can see the branded materials in the top right on the left photo. This was a custom map that Marcus on our team built that laid out the stops, talked about the stops, and then told them, okay, now here's the Yucatan shrimp sauce from Doc Ford's. We've included the recipe on now how to make that. You can see that's, I think, real it's peach puree to make their cocktail at the end of the night, at the end of the tour. This was an hour-long event. And then a social post from one of the journalists on the right side there, celebrating kind of all of the goodies and then the event itself. Here's just some real-time comments from journalists. Obviously, next best thing than having them here, and you can see a lot of that. And even one of the things I wanted to point out here was not only are we talking St. Pete Pier, but it gets people thinking about the destination and other aspects of it. You see somebody, nobody on the call even mentioned the Van Gogh exhibit, yet it comes top of mind. They're like, yes, that's right, that's opening in St. Pete, that's at the Dali. And these are journalists tied to, again, all of those markets. Even somebody, Terry Ward, who's a well-connected journalist, writes for a lot of great publications, who lives in Tampa, says, you know what, I might want to move to St. Pete now. So it's an incredible real-time feedback. and again, continuing to build those relationships with media during a time which is, challenging to do so. Any questions on anything I presented? Thank you for bearing with me. That was long-winded 35 minutes. Real quick, before you get rid of me, I do want to make a quick introduction. We've had the great opportunity to, back right before the pandemic started, I lost a key member of my team. She moved on to a great opportunity locally, Amelia Johnson, and we have since just recently, you can imagine, I kind of put that on hold, that search, hoping, okay, maybe we'll be able to conduct this in person. Nope, virtual Zoom interviews, and making a new hire. So with that, I want to introduce and bring up Eddie Kirsch. He's our new digital producer. Really, his role is day-to-day digital project management. Will be, my right hand on all things digital. And Eddie, come on up and say a couple words, tell you a little bit about himself, and welcome him to the group.
Thank you, Leroy, and good morning. Very excited to meet you all. My wife and I actually just moved back here from Big Bear Lake, California about a week ago. So originally I started in Sarasota, actually working for the Observer Media Group for a couple of years before moving over to visit Sarasota County and focusing on content and digital media. And eventually, after about 5 years there, I moved on to visit Big Bear Lake and was their director of marketing there. Throughout, my tenure of destination marketing, I've done a few website redesigns, and I've always been motivated by multimedia storytelling and using data to drive your marketing decisions and figuring out what's best based on what the numbers are telling you. My wife and I are extremely excited to be back in Florida, and especially in St. Petersburg. We've had a lot of great memories and a lot of celebrations in this area. So I'm just looking forward to helping visitors have their own memories and celebrations as they go through their visitor journey in this destination, and just really looking forward to getting into it. Thank you.
Well, welcome.
With that, we're done. I'm done. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Leroy. And Eddie, welcome to our team. Katie, going to have some information here.
Good morning.
Morning.
Wait for Pete to pull up my slide, but we have several new people here today. I would like to introduce Carmen Boyce, who is with BVK. So Carmen joined us in May, June this year, and has been very instrumental in developing what I'm going to share with you in just a few minutes with our media and our recovery campaign. So our creative that we're going to be launching, the media plan. She works closely with our production team, the creative team, the finance team, the creative. And so she's been instrumental in the Rise to Shine campaign that we shared with you. So Carmen is a vice president, account director with BVK. She's led successful integrated marketing and advertising campaigns for Visit Orlando, Marriott International, Costa Rica, and Experience Columbus. She has a passion for travel and results-oriented style. Early in her career, Carmen was a meeting planner, and Carmen lives in West Chase with her 2 sons and her husband and dog, and loves, when we get on the phone, we have a weekly call every Monday, and she's, talking about, going out to Pier 60 over the weekend or kayaking with her boys. So she loves the area, so I'd like to introduce Carmen just to say hello, and so you guys can recognize her, and hopefully at future meetings you'll see more of her.
It feels so unusual to actually be dressed up, driving in a car to see everybody and not just waving on Zoom. So thank you for having me. I'm very excited about being here. I'm excited in working with the Visit St. Pete Clearwater team. I mean, this year has really thrown us a curveball. We've had a lot of good work that we've been working on to get us through this COVID pandemic, but I look forward to a very positive 2021 and bringing more visitors into Pinellas County. Well, thank you. Thank you, Kate.
Thanks, Carmen. Yeah, this is my second time seeing Carmen in person. Mostly it's, through a Zoom or video call. So, okay, cooker. So I wanted to share with you what we've been working on as far as our creative. So when we, several years ago, we did some brand research study, and that kind of developed what we have now is, our understanding of our core human value, which is vibrancy. And so when we went out to bid for RFP last year, BVK presented some ideas for how we could, an evolution of the brand platform that we have. And so with some work on that, we've come up with a creative that we'd like to share with you. So in that research, research shows that the majority of Americans spend less than 20% each day doing what could be termed very engaging. So most of the time they are doing things mundane and routine, like doing dishes, driving, getting ready for work, fixing dinner. So just going through the emotions and not making the most of life. But what people crave most is going deep, being fully immersed, engaged, and enlivened. People seek pleasure-rich experiences and recreation and travel even more. And you can see that, in the rise of these escape rooms, flotation tanks, food theater, foodie trips, childlike play, adventure travel, all these trends that people really want to, get the most out of when they're traveling. And so we believe St. Pete Clearwater is the perfect environment for that. The destination both calms and invigorates the senses. The power of the beach, the pristine white sand, the nightlife, the creative cultural outlets, the food, the chill vibe. So when visitors experience the destination, visceral experiences from all angles draw them into a deeper space of noticing things. The smaller details come alive, and each other engage more deeply, creating defining, inspiring moments. The environment feels more alive and the people more alive in it. And so, like I said, several years ago, we did a brand research study, and it was kind of an open-ended question about what St. Pete Clearwater, this was to previous visitors of the destination, and we asked them to describe St. Pete Clearwater, and the responses that we got were amazing. And so when the agency was going back and kind of developing how can we push the brand forward, some of the responses really stood out, and I wanted to share this one. This is just a previous visitor that participated in one of our research studies. The hue of the water, the color of the cloudless sky, the differently painted buildings, the whiteness of the sand, the contrast of foliage against the coastline, the vibration of music, its beat and tone, children running, laughing, and having fun, the sound of waves crashing on the shore, the birds scurrying across sands. And so as you read that, you can picture in your mind all of these things going on and the responses that you get from it. And so with that, research and that understanding, the recommendation is that we continue this core human value of vibrancy, which allows us to, number of things that we can tap into. The state of being full of energy, bright, brilliance, strength of sound. And so when the creative that I'm going to show you, a lot of that builds on this idea. And so developing this new creative extension in this campaign, we're trying to dial up those visceral, sensorial aspects of vibrancy. And what we've landed on is called a whole new point of view. Capitalizing on previous success while staying fresh and top of mind with consumers, the creative will take on this new look. And so kind of the platform behind this is very similar to what I just read from one of the brand research participant. When you visit St. Pete Clearwater, every moment is heightened. every color more vibrant, every interaction more meaningful. St. Pete Clearwater is packed with details that last forever, a touch, a smell, a sound. So we focus in on the things that evoke a visceral response, because sometimes a drop of water can tell more of a story than a whole ocean. So here's one of the radio spots that we have launching, that actually launched yesterday with our fall recovery campaign. Pete, can you hit play, please?
Listen closely. A gentle Gulf breeze floats through the air. Emerald green waters gently lap the shoreline. Palm trees sway gently to and fro. The sun lightly warms your shoulders as you inhale. You sink into the sand. You soak up every drop of sun. You breathe it all in, breathe it all out. Salt, sun, sand. Let your senses come alive in St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, where miles of white sand beaches and world-class sunsets meet alfresco dining and an unparalleled art scene, where all things vibrant and vivid come together. Beautiful beachfront properties await in St. Pete, Clearwater. Book fully refundable exclusive offers of up to 55% off with no risk on your next escape at embraceyoursenses.com.
And so that was, as Leroy mentioned, this fall, in our 4-week fall campaign, we will be running 60-second spots and promoting the Travelzoo offers that are direct linked. EmbraceYourSenses.com opens up to the Travelzoo page. Here's another.
Listen closely.
Next slide.
Listen closely. A gentle
Here's another one where it's really talking about the experience of water and all the things that, water is so important to us as a destination, living on a peninsula, and so all the things that, the water experiences offer.
A paddle gently dips in and out of emerald green waters. The sun shimmers through the mangroves in the early morning light. High above the Gulf, the wind whips through your hair as you look down upon the miles and miles of white sand beaches below, as you glide through the sky in a parasail. Soothing sounds of the waves beckon you to dive into the Gulf during your day at the beach. Just below the surface, the fish swim around you as you snorkel on the water's surface, taking in sea life as the afternoon sun warms your back. Around every corner, the water welcomes you to explore all it has to offer. Welcome to St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, where all things vibrant and vivid come together. Book fully refundable exclusive offers of up to 55% off with no risk on your next escape at embraceyoursenses.com.
And then the last spot, next slide, is specifically running only in our Florida markets. And this is tied kind of this road trip experience of driving into the destination from in the state of Florida and that experience.
Imagine this, a sunny day, you in a convertible, top down, hand out the window, the sun on your shoulders and the beach on the horizon. At dusk, the sunset lights the sky on fire. You fall asleep to the sound of soft Gulf waves. In the morning, you're greeted with a magical sunrise. Welcome to St. Pete, Clearwater, where all things vibrant and vivid come together. Plan your next escape at embraceyoursenses.com.
And so this is an example 30-second spot that we'll be running in January. The Travelzoo deals stopped booking in early January, so we'll be switching just to a 30-second message with a brand. So you can see, you hear the natural sounds, with the car door, the birds, and it's really supposed to kind of, make you feel like you're here in the destination, and you get those responses. So next slide. Then I wanted to show you
Imagine this.
Our media campaign that I'll show you in a second. Also includes some digital out-of-home billboards. And so here are 5 examples of some boards, and you see kind of this textural shot on the right that ties in with the environmental image on the left. Elevate your senses. A touch of bliss. And you can see that white powdery sand that we're famous for. You can almost hear it. Embrace the vibrant. Dive completely in. And then our media campaign also includes some television advertising in Orlando, Atlanta, Indy, and Cincy. And so we created 2 15-second spots, and typically in our buy, they're done as bookends. So when you come in and out of a news program, you would get our spot. So most of the spots are running 15s, but we do have the ability to sandwich them together and create a 30-second spot. So here's one of the new 15-second spots that we created. And then the second one. So all of the assets that we created for the campaign, from the digital out-of-home billboards to the television to some of our digitals, all existing assets. We're really fortunate. We have a huge library of photos. I'd say, of state destinations. Our images that we have is unparalleled. We have a huge library of images, so we're really fortunate. But we do understand that with this campaign, there is a need for some additional images and shots to really help tell the story. So we are working with the agency to develop a photography list of, some new assets to get, as well as in discussions for a brand TV spot to come out sometime next year. And then we'll continue to evolve the campaign. It's not just set it and forget it. We'll tweak it, and we're working with the agency to develop some creative testing over the next couple months to see how the campaign performs. So where will that creative be running? So I shared this with you at our last meeting. I want to just refresh. So we did start yesterday, on Monday, with our fall-winter recovery campaign. So in-state, focusing Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, Fort Myers, Naples, and running radio, digital, billboards in Orlando, which is our #1 market. We are running television there. We do take a break over a couple weeks over the holidays, and then start back in January. And you'll see that we rotate. We're doing radio every other week. And then out of state, we're doing focusing on Atlanta, Indianapolis, and Cincinnati. And like I mentioned last month, that was based on the arrivalist data that we have in those markets. And so you'll see in these markets where we haven't had a large presence with traditional advertising, we are running our television there. And so we're rotating television, radio every other week. And so that is the media campaign. Is about $4.2 million over this 5-month campaign in those 7 markets. And unfortunately, where Leroy can do digital ads and track with a click and tie it into Visa data and all this other data, it's a little bit harder with traditional, but we are working with destination analysts to develop an ad tracker study, where we do surveys to the markets that we're advertising in to understand the value of the media that we have running, and did it drive any visitation. So we are working with them on that right now to develop that out. Also wanted to share with you, we've been in discussions already with Tampa Bay Times on the development of our Gulf to Bay magazine for 2021. And so they have, we published the media kit I believe last week. And so goal is to be in market in May of 2021. We'll do distribution of 500,000 copies and looking at newspaper inserts in the New York Times and also our in-state markets. And then also heavy with our brochure distribution at the Visit Florida Welcome Centers in the 2 airports. And we also have a robust mailing list of people who sign up to on our website to receive our magazine in the mail. And then we did drop the quantity down a little bit for our international and domestic shows, just for the uncertainty of when they'll be coming back. But we're also working with the Tampa Bay Times to develop an enhanced digital guide, because we do know that people, the digital guide, people will be flipping through that. And so we're adding some opportunities there for our advertisers with enhanced links. And so, and we've been having weekly meetings with the Tampa Bay Times on the editorial and really how we can promote some of the new brand creative that I just showed you, how we can weave that into the magazine. And then also, really focusing on the outdoors and, understanding this environment that we're in. How can we appeal to the outdoor, which, just looking through our current magazine, it's already very outdoor heavy because that's just our destination, but how can we show that even more in the magazine? And then we have an industry webinar tomorrow where we are unveiling our co-op advertising, a lot of emails, Visit St. Pete Clearwater emails that do really well, but we're also unveiling a Sojourn program. It's a 1-to-1-to-1 match with Sojourn. So for every $1 that an partner spends, we'll match it $1, and Sojourn will match it $1. And that's a couple different tier options that you can do, from native ads, display ads, or video ads. So we'll be running through that tomorrow on a webinar at 1 p.m. And then submission day is 9 a.m. on December 8th. And then I just want to quickly touch on the Rise to Shine campaign. So a lot of our paid media has stopped running our television and our radio. We still have some of the buses in the destination that are still active through the end of the year. But our Rise to Shine partner participation is still available for partners. We have had 330 participating businesses to date that go to visitsbc.com/rise to shine to sign up to receive the materials that we've produced. And we encourage, we're not planning to shut down this program anytime soon. It's still available for partners and working with any the communities to help, raise awareness of this message. And so I just did want to touch on that. So that's my presentation. If there's any questions. Yes.
I have a concern. I don't know if this is for you, Katie, or for Leroy, but I noticed at the bottom of the radio advertising, it talks about 55% discount. So I assume that's tying back to the Travelzoo campaign. So that's going to run all winter long.
It'll run through December.
So if you did not participate in that, what happens? I mean, to me, it looks like we're advertising the 13 properties.
It's promoting those participating partners that are on Travelzoo.
Which, full disclaimer, we didn't agree to do that, but so we're advertising 55% discount in the height of the winter season, and it's benefiting 13 properties. I just want to make sure I'm following this.
I think oftentimes the challenge from our perspective when buying media is to create a very strong call to action to book, to get people to the booking engine. And that's what this has. So we feel like it's a much better approach to have that strong CTA than to just have, book now without any place to put somebody. Also, we do know that by tracking, so in past years with Travelzoo, we track the campaign with the DARA impact. We know that the campaign books just about equal the same bookings in Travelzoo as it does outside the program with direct bookings to hotels. Because at the end of the day, you're right, that program only has 13 hotels, and it doesn't have everything for everyone. So people will go there, they'll explore and say, you know what, I don't see my Marriott that I want to stay at, or I don't see this type of product that, or I want to be on this beach and I don't see that hotel. So we know from past tracking and experience in campaigns, this program drives bookings outside of the program. It just allows us to put competitive offers in front of somebody to physically go and book.
Just an awfully steep discount. And I trust the data, right? I do, but you're talking about one particular platform, travel.
Totally.
With a very limited amount of properties and a very big discount. That's kind of I'm checking boxes that I don't like.
Well, yeah, and to note the discount, we're saying up to, 55% off. That was not the threshold to be a part of the program. We are obviously advertising the most attractive, bar there with 55% off, but many of the products aren't that deep of a discount. So really trying to attach a very, very, convincing sales message to this advertising to get people to go to Travelzoo, see what products we have. If they book there, great. If they go out and start searching and they're inspired to book elsewhere, that's great too. I mean, it works in both ways.
I just think there are other platforms that are much larger than Travelzoo. That's another concern.
The challenge can be is creating that unique environment that is, we could use, and I'm not using this on purpose, but Expedia, let's say, we can't cover the commissions associated with Expedia bookings, and that's our intent with Travelzoo, right, is to make it, particularly this program, completely free for hotels to generate the business. I mean, we could drive back to other platforms. Because we're spending money on the one hand, it makes sense to accent that with the other hand. That's the intent here.
Can I dovetail on that too? Question. Recognizing the 13 participants, and you're saying that obviously that doesn't fit the niche for everyone of those properties, but how is that going to drive them to the other properties? If they don't find what they want there, how does that get them further diving into what we are offering in terms of VSPC and our other properties and accommodations?
Yeah, so on the slide I shared with the performance of that, I think it said 1 in 4 click off to a partner offer or our website. We've had more than 46,000, I believe the number was on the slide, clicks off to Visit St. Pete Clearwater. So the top half of that page, when you land there, you have to scroll down to the deals. The top half is all Visit St. Pete Clearwater.
And they could then go out and further pursue based off of the Travelzoo. Okay.
That's correct.
Second comment on Travelzoo, that you'll notice that there are no vacation accommodation, rental vacation type properties associated with that. There's just not a way to dovetail our product with the required discounts and the additional fees and charges and so forth. So this isn't a negative comment, it's just I'm saying that we don't fit in there because of marketing the vast majority of other people's owned properties. The way a vacation rental works is different than a hotel. So we tried to make it work, but the dollars and cents, and they couldn't accept the fees and costs and so forth, and the prices.
I'd like to talk to you more about that because I know we've had Sunset Vistas is on there. We have other vacation rental, Barefoot Beach is on there. I know we have other vacation rental properties. So let's see if we can.
There may be a miscommunication.
Put some weight.
I appreciate that.
I'm happy to put some weight on Travelzoo and say, no, let's, at the end of the day, this needs to be, positive for the participants, for you, right? So I get it. Normally, Travelzoo wants to cut deep. Oh, let's give us the 55%. But we're paying for this program. We need it to work for you all. So happy to put weight on them to say, no, this deal's good enough. Let's add them to the program.
Well, and to Tony's point, too, I think it's important that, we make sure that here's a representation of X number of properties, but there needs to be that drive to all of the other types of properties that we have to offer. So that's important. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since you're up there, Leroy, I've got some for Katie, but for you, I was excited to hear about your spend data measurement with Visa. A lot of times you'll see Visa / MasterCard. Is it just Visa, or is it Visa and MasterCard's transactions?
This is just Visa.
Just Visa.
Yeah.
Does MasterCard or Amex have any rumors of starting a similar program?
So the program we're doing as attached to the media, no. However, MasterCard does have a similar, what I would say, more generic spending data set. So we're in the process of adding that similar product for Visa, but for what we're doing on measuring, using that data to measure the digital media, no, those products aren't available for those cards.
Thank you. Excellent job today on your presentation. Katie, in the past, I've seen we've put, I'll call them banner ads, I may be using the wrong word, but in the subways, all those placards that go in the cars. And I noticed we are targeting these other markets, but I didn't see anything. Now, the Gulf to Bay magazine insert is in the St. Pete Times coming up, or excuse me, in the New York Times, in addition to the other newspapers, but I didn't see any advertising up in the whole New England market. What's the thought process there?
So yeah, we typically, this time I would be showing you our subway and our urban panels and our New York City buses. But yeah, we have not included New York City or New England in the fall winter recovery campaign, just due to the arrivalist data and some of the trends that we see. But not to say that that market's not important. It's just we won't be advertising there for the winter.
Okay, thank you. And I know our budget, we'll talk about that probably with Steve a little bit later, but with the missing bed tax dollars, which are inevitable again for 2021, we have to, if we don't have money coming in, we can't spend as much, so that may be part of it too.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. New York City is top dollar, and so when we're trying to look at where to spend our money, while it does, generally it performs really well to spend the money there, this year, if we're gonna, cut some money, that's the market to do it.
Thank you. Very impressive presentation today. Thank you, Katie.
Great, thanks.
Madam Chair, if I could ask a question.
Yes, please.
Yep. Katie, just more on the Travelzoo campaign. This runs through April.
So I think it ends through early January, so that our page that we've launched with them ends like early to mid-January, but people can book now for deals, I think, through the end of April.
Right.
So we will, as far as our advertising and included in our radio, we will stop that mid-next month when we stop before the holidays. When we come back in January, we'll just be running our 30-second spots without the call to action. And we are actually in discussions with Allegiant on opportunities to work together with them in Indianapolis and Cincinnati. Those are two big markets that they've identified, and how we can do some kind of co-op or a call to action campaign with them.
Do you have any early returns on bookings that have come from this promotion?
The campaign just started yesterday. I've already asked Leroy, hey, can you give me data on the EmbraceYourSenses.com website traffic? Have we seen anything? He was pulling that for me. So nothing yet. But like I said, we are working with destination analysts to create an ad tracker study. And so surveying participants in those markets next month to see if they've seen our advertising, have they booked, have they looked, and trying to get some data about the campaign.
Well, some early returns from Innisbrook, 22 room nights in the last 24 hours.
Awesome.
So, who are the 13 hotels that were featured on there?
I'm not, I think I can name off a few. Leroy's going to pull up the website.
We have Wyndham Grand Clearwater Beach, Postcard Inn, St. Pete Beach, Winter at the Dolphins Beach Club, Clearwater Beach, Hotel Zamora, St. Pete Beach, Barefoot Beach Resort, Indian Shores, Clearwater Beach Marriott Suites and Sand Key, Trade Winds, Crystal Palms Resort, Treasure Island, Sunset Vistas, Treasure Island, Serrata, Innisbrook, Holiday Inn and Hotel and Suites Clearwater Beach, and Sheridan Sand Key.
Great. Thank you very much.
I'm
So
sorry.
just wanted to make a couple of comments. And first of all, it's good to see the creative. It's good to see the outdoors. Certainly, the efforts put into showing people, that they can be here, they can be outdoors, they can do things. But I think it's also important that in some way we need to be showing, and the piece with the pier, the St. Pete Pier, gives people that opportunity to shop, eat, experience, be outside, and they can do it safely, social distancing, and we want to encourage people, though, to be out and doing those things, and we're not seeing much of the dining experience. I think some of our businesses outside of accommodations and hotels. It's important, obviously, to get the people here and stay here, but we also need to show them that there are safe places to eat and things to do and places to shop, and that needs to be a part of that message. I think that some of those businesses are feeling that, they don't see it. We do, because we're in the accommodation business, we're on the TDC, and we see the ads. But it's important, I think, for other partners in the industry to be able to understand what the CVB is doing to promote the overall area and all of these other types of businesses. So if there's some way we can kind of keep them abreast and get them up to speed on, because the ads aren't running locally, so they aren't seeing it, and how important it is in the drive market. The people are traveling within state because they can, and they're going to the other places, and obviously you're promoting Jacksonville and all of these, but when we look at the statistics, Key West was the only destination on our statistics that showed that they even had anything positive, and it was double digits at 14%. The rest of us were all in a negative. What are they doing that they're so successful? So, I'm sure you all do take a look and see what other agencies are doing, but they must be doing something well. And people are finding ways to get there. So thank you. Just take that into consideration.
Yeah, thank you. And I did want to share that tomorrow at our 1 p.m., where we're unveiling the co-op, we will also run through the creative and the media plan that we have for all industry to be aware. But thank you.
Yeah, Katie, the Golf to Bay magazine, can you give us a little briefing on, either now or later, the participation of hotels and Airbnb and attractions and so forth over the last couple of years, and all? It's an expensive commitment for us to go into, and it's a bigger commitment for you all, and I believe in it, but is it people are backing off now, do you know, or have they in the last year's experience, or what our plans are with that?
Sure. We have, like last year we had 50 advertisers participate, and it made up about 35% of the magazine. So it was 35% ads, 65% content. Typically we try and be around 40-60. That's kind of what the goal is. We did have a little bit of drop off last year, but we feel there was some great content. I haven't gotten a report yet from Tampa Bay Times yet on how ad sales are going. Kelly Spamer with Tampa Bay Times manages that for us, and I know they've been out with the media kit promoting that for the last week, so I haven't got a report. We did roll back prices this year, so our full page ad did go down $1,000, and I completely understand that this magazine, the cost is more than some other co-op advertising that we do, but I also realize that there's a lot of circulation with it. We have the newspaper inserts, so So it goes beyond just that ad here. There's, the copies that we're distributing and the media behind it. But we did roll back those prices a little bit, and we'll have to see what response we get from advertisers.
What's the proportion of Europe versus domestic? Because Europe, you said you're not going to do any at this time. The percentage of publications or whatever, is that in fairness to those that for distribution in overseas that we won't be doing?
We typically always send magazines to our international offices for distribution because they get requests for mail fulfillment, and so we have mailing houses in the UK and Germany, and we still have our UK mailing house. And so, yeah, I would say they probably send out maybe 4,000 magazines a year for mail fulfillment. But yeah, that'll be something we'll have to look into.
So Europe is a small number of the total percentage.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, and yeah, if there's any other questions, I'll see you at the marketing subcommittee.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you, Katie. And for everyone, great questions. I almost feel like the marketing subcommittee's already being held within this, which is good, though. I think it's great. One of the things that we've talked about as a focus this year all deals about content and how can we create content, and asked Tony to speak before this group about a project that he's been working on for a while that I think is going to come to fruition. That is different and unique, and I don't think you will find it anyplace else. And so, Tony, I'll let you get into all the detail about this unique project.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to see everybody here. My girlfriend thanks you all for getting me out of the house and having me dressed like an adult today, so very happy about that. Well, I discussed this a little bit during the budget meeting back in June, but I'm sure there's been a lot going on since June, so we may not all remember what we were talking about. And this is really something I've been working on since January, and a big thanks to Michael for all the legal back and forth that we've done over the many months of working out the details of this. And it's really an idea that I've been pitching for 6 years, the 6.5 years that I've been here now. Is we're constantly going out and trying to bring other projects to the area to promote the destination. And my idea had always been, well, what can we do to create that stuff here almost in-house that'll still go out wide and promote the destination. And so this particular project, it's a Hallmark Channel style feature film that's essentially a 90-minute commercial for the area. So we had the 2 Hallmark Channel films last year that were made to great success. Safety Harbor is constantly emailing or calling me and telling me about how they had another person stop in the Chamber of Commerce and say that they came and traveled in just because they saw it on Hallmark Channel. And so the idea is we have this film, A Taste of Love. It's a Hallmark-style film that we're going to create entirely here in the destination, and it'll be a 90-minute commercial promoting the entire area. So our program, the incentive program that we've had, for many years now has been really successful. And again, had those Hallmark Channel films because of that. And there's nothing coming up right now. So due to COVID and everything that we have going on, we don't have, these $2 million films that are going to come to the destination and shoot in the area. I've got a handful of smaller projects that could be anywhere from that $100,000 to $500,000 range, and those are great and really working hard to bring them here, but they're not going to have the broad exposure of these larger films that we get. And so what we're doing is working with a local company to produce these films, and the sales and the distribution is going to happen with outside partners that are well experienced in this, and you have the document in front of you that kind of lays everything out. But Vanessa Shapiro and Marty Poole, Vanessa has 10 Hallmark Channel films in production right now in various stages that she's going to be putting out on Hallmark and Lifetime, Netflix, and these other platforms. And so what we're going to do is, we have our incentive that is in our budget. We're going to use $500,000 of that incentive specifically for this Taste of Love Hallmark style film. And just like any of our other incentives that we've done over the years, that money does not pay out until after the film is already shot, after the deliverables have been given to us to prove that everything's done, it's getting out there and doing everything that it needs to do. And as an added bonus to this, we are actually going to be able to share in some of the profits of the film as it gets distributed as well. So 12.5% of the net profits of the film can come back to Visit St. Pete Clearwater, that then we could roll back into doing this again for another project, essentially. So the local company that'll be doing this is Digital Caviar, and they're the only company that really focuses on feature films locally and have done quite a number of feature films, and they're a veteran-owned and run business, and that's a big thing with the county as well, is working with veteran-owned and run businesses, and so, that's the local company that we're going to be using for this, basically. So you do have the summary document in front of you. I didn't want to read through the whole thing, but just sort of give you an overview and then allow you to ask any questions you might have about this particular project.
Questions? No?
Tony?
Okay.
Nothing?
Madam Chair?
Oh, yes, please.
Hey, Tony, so you've turned over to this production company the distribution. Where do you think we're going to see this? Is this going to be on television? Is this going to be...
Yeah, so this particular film is exactly like every other Hallmark film. And if you've watched Hallmark, which I've watched a lot with, again, with my girlfriend, because she loves these movies, they're pretty much all exactly the same, kind of movie, but it's that type of film. And the way, and I'll use Hallmark as an example, the way that they work is they do 100 movies a year. 25 of those movies they shoot in-house as a Hallmark production. 75% of them are shot by outside production companies that then they license and put on Hallmark Channel. Same thing with Lifetime, same thing with Netflix. And so because of Vanessa and Marty's experience, and she has, you can look at her resume right there, Hallmark, Lifetime, Hallmark, all these films that are on those platforms, that's the expectation, is that this film will then be on a TV platform, a Hallmark or a Lifetime or a Netflix.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Nothing.
And if I might add, so when Tony first explained this to me, so the old school in me went back and said, oh, we're doing an infomercial. So this is the enhanced, really cool version of an infomercial because it ends up being a film. And I think it's really exciting. And again, is there any other destination doing something along this line?
Yeah, to my knowledge, no other destination is doing this, and no other film commission in the country is doing anything like this. And a lot of this comes from my background as a filmmaker, not to sort of brag or anything, but I am an award-winning filmmaker and screenwriter and have produced a number of films over the years. And so, my mentality goes towards, well, what can we do to create this content that'll specifically promote the area? And so, again, the whole film is going to be, beauty shots and really highlighting the destination and aspects of the destination between, Dunedin, St. Pete, and Clearwater, and really kind of covering the gamut of everywhere in the county and making this a big promotional thing. And we do have the ROI in there from, BVK that they put at $1.5 million, and that was from our previous Hallmark Channel film. I'm actually expecting a new number coming in from BVK that I'm waiting on that should be even higher, and that's just on the marketing value of that. And then from an economic impact standpoint, this $500,000 that the production company is going to spend first in the area before we even pay them anything is being spent on local hires and local businesses. So in this time when people are really wanting to work and needing to work and we want to support our local business and everything, the money is going directly into the community here.
Tony, when is the filming taking place?
We're looking at January, February timeframe. It all really depends on the contract process getting sorted out. So Terry's, the master of contracts, and she's working hard on this. And so it's moving through the county process. And something at this level has to be voted on by the BCC. And so it's just a matter of going through the contract process and getting that sorted out. And then production can really ramp up, say 4 weeks after we know contract is done and finalized.
And when would the release be?
It depends. This particular film, Hallmark, if I use them as an example, runs in sort of seasons. They start getting out of winter films, spring films, and do summer wedding films and harvest. And right now they're in full Christmas mode. So this would be more of a summer or fall type of film. So we're hoping then for summer, fall 2021, which then is great because we're all hoping that vaccines and other things improve, then we'd see a lot of the impact of this in late 2021 to early 2022. And it's possible that this may not air until early 2022. It's hard to say based on the distribution, but it will be distributed internationally as well. So this is something that in our big international markets, UK and Germany and France, these types of films do really well over there, and so this will get international play as well.
That's very exciting.
Thank you.
Have the locations already been blocked?
No. We do have the script that does, specifically say a Dunedin or a Clearwater or wherever else, but there's certain things. So this is a cooking-based one, so we'll need a restaurant or a kitchen or whatever else, and that location has not been set or determined yet. So if Innisbrook is a possibility on that, we can have that conversation as we start to, when we start getting into pre-production and looking at the film.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you, Tony. The last two folks I want to bring up, and again, I apologize for having everyone give reports, but there was just so much good stuff that I wanted to be able to get out. In this case, I would like to have Suze come up and talk on the meetings conference side, and then Rose to talk up on the leisure, because they've done some things here recently. Actually getting back to the old way, the pre-COVID way of doing things. And I want them just to give a quick update. So Suze, I'll have you go first.
Thank you so much for having me today. I apologize, my presentation is not nearly as aesthetically pleasing as what you've already seen, but it is exciting nonetheless to report on the fact that we have started to see some movement on the meeting side, in that in-person meetings have started to happen. So the first meeting that took place was in October, and it was out in Colorado Springs. It was Smart Meetings. We do about 5 of their programs a year because they tend to focus them geographically so that we can hit meeting planners in basically all 5 quadrants of the United States. So this was the first one. There were 90 people total, and there were Tracy Connolly on my team attended, and it was mainly focused on the corporate and incentive market, and she had 25 appointments. This is kind of what it looked like for their appointments, so you could kind of see how they took on socially distancing to have the appointments, and masks were mandatory, of course. They also got creative with the general session. Obviously, it was a smaller meeting, so they were able to take some liberties with, instead of doing traditional schoolroom style. This was a sanitizing person that they had walking around during the trade show and during their general sessions that would hand out sanitizer or a wipe if you were feeling like you needed something to, clean up with. And this is just an example of what they did for snack time during the coffee breaks and such. So everything was individually wrapped, and you just handled it yourself. So I thought it was kind of cute how they took on their approach. The next meeting that we attended was also in October. It was at the Orlando World Center. There were 900 people. Connect Marketplace is traditionally one of the largest meeting shows that we go to, IMEX being the largest. And it traditionally has about 4,000 people. So obviously this wasn't quite at that level, but 3 people on my team, myself, Hortensia Simmons, and Jill Brown all attended, and we did 3 different tracks. We did the association track, the specialty track, and the corporate track. And between the 3 of us, we had over 125 one-on-one appointments. And I think the biggest takeaway from that was that the meeting planners were excited to see us, and they were excited to meet face-to-face. And they are excited for what will happen that will get us moving forward to where we can meet face-to-face again. We did collect 9 requests for proposals. One of those was from the Florida Association market, and the other one was from the religious Smurf market, which we are seeing has the biggest movement right now. Our activations team jumped on board to help us. Big shout out to them. And they produced this booth for us that was in the trade show area. There were several destinations from Florida there, so we brought our best foot forward there. And Brandy on their team came out and interacted with the meeting planners while we were in our appointments. The meeting planners could scan to win a gift bag and an Adirondack chair that we mailed to them afterwards. And they could also take selfies on the paddleboard. So some upcoming events that we have are Meetings Today Live is actually happening right now. Monica Silva on my team is at that. That's another smaller trade show, so the ability to social distance is to their advantage, and she's coming back tomorrow, so we should have an update on that. Hospitality Performance Network is a third-party a trade show that will be in Scottsdale, December 6th to 9th. Again, a smaller portion, probably about 150 people there. And then the Smart Meeting Southeast, which focuses on planners that have business specifically for Southeast destinations, will be in Miami, December 6th to 9th. So as I was saying, some takeaways from it on the state of the industry. Most of the planners were reporting that they're still under travel mandates, waiting on a vaccine. They are doing smaller meetings of 100 people or less. Most of those are happening regionally. And the third parties that I met with from Helms Briscoe, Hospitality Performance Network, and Conference Direct, all are planning to hold their live events in 2021, in anticipation of that vaccine. I do a monthly Director of Sales and Marketing update call, and yesterday we had that call. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is kind of a slide January to April in 2021. Most of the directors were reporting they're going backwards as opposed to forwards, in that group bookings are continuing to cancel or move to later dates. Because most of the meetings are, the ones that are 100 people or less, they're still managing to maybe hang on to, but the pace is off. And they're anticipating spring break is not going to be where they want it to be. Of course, waiting on what's going to happen with spring training, downtown hotels, mentioning Grand Prix and jazz festivals. So they're just not feeling confident that they're going to be on the pace that they normally are at for spring break. However, there is a bright side: weddings, and more weddings. Most of the hotels are reporting that they are doing triple the amount of wedding business that they normally do. So that is attributing to some good ROI for them. And a lot of concerns over Super Bowl blocks, what's going to happen, what the NFL decides about capacity for Raymond James Stadium. And that is the update for meetings. Question?
Madam Chair. Sue's great report. Thank you.
Thank you.
What can you share anecdotally about what your team is hearing from meeting planners about small meetings, anything returning in the first half of the year? I know there's a great deal of optimism loaded into the back half, but anything you can add to that would be helpful.
So most of the people that I talked to, I did the corporate track at Connect, and it was really enlightening because I think, as we've been thought and being told that regional meetings are going to be the biggest factor, and that's what they are focusing on, keeping their smaller sort of board meetings or smaller sales meetings that they can stay in their destinations or close by. And most of them that are the larger corporations are waiting for the mandate to lift, and that will only happen when a vaccine is out there. So,
great. Thank you.
We are planning, I just started putting together the first one. We're going to start doing a series of very small regional FAMs where we bring in meeting planners to rediscover meetings in their backyard. So we're just going to start getting those going just to try to get people reassociated with what's here. We've talked to some people at Raymond James who 1/3 of their meetings are canceled, 1/3 are going regional, and 1/3 are going virtual. So we want to try to tap into some of those meetings that are going to happen regionally.
Great, thank you.
Welcome. Questions?
Mike, Madam Chair, Mike, in talking with somebody from one of the third-party companies yesterday, one of their associates had a conference booked over in Daytona for 300 people. It actually they had 400 show up. So the number actually went up. The other thing that they're looking at for 21 is the smaller meetings. They're waiting the last minute to go through and place those. So if it's coming up for March, they may be sending something out now versus traditionally you're working a little more, a year out, but it's the smaller stuff. And then what they're holding off on is the larger meetings because they're not sure what's going to happen, whether it's at the corporate level, the association level, whatever it might be.
If I could, just a follow-up, Suze. You mentioned Super Bowl and what the NFL is doing. The last thing that I heard that the NFL had publicized was a 20% capacity. Have we heard any confirmation of that?
if I might, on that. So I don't believe it was the NFL that came out with that. That was actually a writer, and it might have been for a media outlet that thought that that's what he had heard. I had a conversation with Rob Higgins with the host committee, and the NFL has not come out with, hey, it's going to be at 100%, it's going to be at 20%. They have not done that. What they are doing is working with not only the local authorities, so in this case, the folks at Raymond James, but also the health department and the individuals in Hillsborough County to say what will that be? I mean, but at this point, that 20% number was somebody writing about it.
Okay, great.
So, and I think that's part of, because I've also heard, well, it's not going to happen at all. Well, again, there's nothing along that line. So they're still moving forward in the game happening. And, the entities that are coming in, there may be a difference in numbers. It's just, at this point in time, we don't know what that might be.
Right. Thank you.
I think that media thing tends to happen on more fronts than not, especially, like I said, with spring training, Grand Prix. I talked to the Vinoy yesterday, and what they said is Grand Prix is, they haven't heard anything about it canceling and it's going forward, but there are rumors out there, so people don't know what to believe.
But it's like, you had events down, and, like one of the spring events being the Valspar. I mean, at this point, from what we've heard, and Tim might be able to comment on it, but what we heard from them is, yeah, we're moving forward, and, there's plans then to, have fans there.
We have heard that in conversations with the PGA Tour, that the current number is 10,000 a day now, or 40,000 in total. That is down significantly from the 130,000 to 150,000 that we would typically see. But as of today, the PGA Tour is planning to allow fans.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Rose?
Good morning. Good morning. Steve asked that I come and talk to you about a couple of things that we're working on in the Leisure Travel Department. Visit St. Pete Clearwater, actually Marion Wolf and myself were part of the first Brand USA Global Marketplace virtual event. The event was Travel Week Europe, and it took place October 26th through the 29th. This event was hosted on Brand USA's proprietary platform and featured more than 750 participants across Europe and the US, with 154 buyers from 18 countries, including the UK, Germany, Ireland, and Switzerland, among others. Some key takeaways from the meetings were that operators are not selling January through March of 21 for fear that they would have to keep rebooking people. Instead, they're focusing on April and beyond. Florida remains a significant value driver for most UK and Central European operators and a top choice for long-haul travel. And operators need rates now from our hotel partners through 2022, because those that can provide these rates now will have an opportunity to get early bookings, and the operators are completely okay with being able to raise rates after a few months and see where we're at with the vaccine. So here's just a couple of screenshots from the event. Okay. I'm not sure if I can. Pete can, thank you. So I did show you the first slide. Mary and I created a PowerPoint to use during our 24 face-to-face appointments. These were virtual appointments over the 4 days of the show, giving us an opportunity to share the destination's latest news, including virtual fan materials, digital assets, and keeping St. Pete Clearwater top of mind with the important operators. So this is the main lobby of the platform, which, by the way, this platform will remain open and live through June 30th of 21. From here, you can see presentations on the main stage, interact with operators in the networking lounges, watch Brand USA videos on demand, and visit the buyer pavilion. Whoop. Visit St. Pete Clearwater's booth was in the Southeast Pavilion, and there were 12 Florida suppliers. And then this is our booth. In our booth, clients could watch our videos, download our collateral, and drop off their business cards. They can also access our business profile and contact us directly. And then here is a screenshot of Marianne and myself during our meeting with one of our tour operators. This is Der Tour from Germany. The next Brand USA event on this platform is scheduled for December 15th through the 16th, and it will be a forum on Canada. So there's going to be 6 shows in total that'll be part of this global platform. And just this past week, November 8th through the 10th, Visit St. Pete Clearwater attended our first live appointment show in Orlando, and this was also a Connect meeting. This was Connect Tour and the Receptive Operators Summit South. During this dual trade show, it allowed Visit St. Pete Clearwater to have 54 appointments over the 2-day event, and other Florida attendees included the Keys, Visit Miami, Visit Kissimmee, Visit Tampa, and Visit Florida. Sunny Flynn with the Alligator and Wildlife Attraction at Johns Pass also attended and had appointments with the operators. The news of a possible vaccine for COVID-19 made for very positive interactions with these operators, and VSPC will be following up on some potential new tour group business, and we stand ready to welcome our international visitors back through some of our major receptive operators that were in attendance, like Hotel Beds and Bonatel. And coming up, virtual Florida Huddle will be happening February 8th through 12th, and we are working with Visit Florida on how St. Pete Clearwater can participate over that 4-day event. And that's all I had. Yeah, it was a great platform. It moved really well. It was a great way to interact with people, not face-to-face, but virtually.
And I really have to commend Rose and Marion for, working through to make that happen, the rest of the team to get all the assets to make it happen. The Brand USA platform was that was killer. The way they were able to interact. What was interesting is, I think it was last week or the week before that was World Travel Market, but they did the virtual World Travel Market, and the initial word was, especially for those that had afternoon appointments, that's when the U.S. signed into it, that the system was crashing, things were being extended. It wasn't nearly as smooth as what Brand USA did. And so, it's a new reality in maybe how we do go through and do some of the shows, but the great part is to be able to speak in that format with the operators. And again, for lodging partners, right now they're thinking about that summer, and we need to make sure we've got the product in there. So, when those flights start opening back up, that, we're able to take advantage of.
Yes, and I wanted to say
business.
Thank you to Katie and her team for helping us get those digital assets loaded into the booth, and we will be getting results on how many people did view those.
Good. Thank you, Rose.
Yeah.
Can you give us an idea on this virtual, what the cost is compared to where it was in the past for any one of these shows?
Yeah, the cost is really a lot lower.
Oh, yeah.
And at Connect, Visit Florida actually subsidized any Florida partner that wanted to go to that show. But the virtual shows have been, some of them have been free, some of the platforms have been no cost to us. I believe the cost, and Leroy, I think you might know, I think the cost is $4,000 to be on the Brand USA global platform for all 6 of their shows.
Compared to 50,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, I'm still mad that I don't get to travel anywhere, though, this year.
Yes, the next live show that we'll be talking a lot about and how our booth will look will be IPW. That'll be happening in September out in Las Vegas.
Cool.
It's going to be live.
Right now it's live.
Right now.
So on the huddle, looking forward to February, we'll be here before we know it. I'm assuming that working with VSPC, those of us who have always participated in that will be, I think, needing some assistance on how to make this happen.
And we're talking through how the show is going to work with the folks at Visit Florida. It's going to be a 4-day show, and each day will be a different track. So the appointments with the UK and Ireland might be on one day. Appointments with Central Europe might be a different day. Appointments with the US and Canada might be, or Latin America might be a separate day. So they're working on how it's all going to actually unfold, given the different time zones and everything we'll be working with. So as more of that comes together, we'll definitely be sharing that with the industry.
Thank you.
And Doreen, I think maybe to your point, if this were a normal trade show, we would probably have it themed. Like in the past, like we've been at IPW, you knew you were in St. Pete, Clearwater just by the theme. I think even with Huddle be that. Is there a way to do that virtually? And that's what we can find out. Again, so it doesn't matter if they're talking to a partner of ours, here in Pinellas County, or talking to us, there's a theme to it. And so it's, again, a new way to look at it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rose. Madam Chair, that is all of the department updates. And if you don't mind, I'll head into the to my report.
Please.
Under the tourism snapshot, which includes what's happening within the industry as well as bed tax, I'm not going to go through every page. You have the document in front of you. I'm going to sum everything up. Under occupancy for September, hotel motel was down 18%, but vacation rental was flat. And then year to date, hotel motel occupancy is down 22, vacation rental is down 6.3%. If you look at tourist development tax collections for the month of September, which will finish out the year, we were 7.9%, and we finished the year down 23.2%. So compared to where we were in the month of April, where there was 500,000 collected, to be only down the 23% for the year, I think is, it shows how well we did on the front end, those first 5 months before we got to the pandemic. But again, we had that slow climb back up. And again, a testament to, I think, people wanting to come here because of the openness that we have of the beaches, the fact that I think with the safety mandates that we have, I think a variety of things. I think it certainly has bode well. Doesn't mean it can't improve. I will say under the TravelClick, the key data information, and moving away from AirDNA, I think will give us a better representative of that data. One of the things, and again, it may not be up and going yet on key data, is we can also at that point then make comparisons to other markets. So we can look at it, and Leroy did a great job of showing where we are versus where we were last year, is we could easily go in and say, tell me what Sarasota's doing, or tell me what, again, from our comp set, what those other places are doing, so we could look at the fact, are we doing better, are we doing worse, or the same? And I think that's gonna be important. Then again, as you have the information on the visitor profile, again, looking at through September, so we'll get our final quarter report here. Probably for next month, we'll be able to go through and distribute that. The only thing that will throw the 2020 information off is we did not survey in the month of April and the month of May. And that was primarily due to the fact April, everything was shut down. So again, when you're trying to survey visitors, everything is shut down. That's not something that you can go through and get. And then, really May was starting to come back really after, I think it was Mother's Day, when the beaches finally reopened. So June was when the surveying restarted back up. So it's, again, good data, but we'll be 2 months shy of a full set than what we had done previously in 2019. But again, pay attention to the visitor profile. Again, we look at it because that helps in some of our decision making when it comes down to the advertising, in addition to a number of other things. Just some other notes that I want to go through real quickly. One is, everything we're doing is as a team effort, and it's so glad to see the folks with digital communications working with, sales, like we're talking about doing a digital ad campaign out for the meeting planners. So being able to work with the team from that aspect, whether it's advertising, promotions, working with sales to make sure they have the tools that they need. Again, it's a team effort as we move forward to really position and market this community. I also want to mention a team effort, and this is something that I think is important because of CARES funding that the county has received, and this came from the federal government. And this was voted on yesterday by the county commission. But over the course of the last several months, there have been dollars set aside for small business grants, a variety of different entities, which there's an application process. So the EDC had been working on local business grants, and I think I've mentioned this before, our staff had helped with some of the evaluating of the information. So again, going into an area that's not in our lane, but it certainly helps out because again, it's helping out businesses and individuals here in this community. Yesterday, they voted to go through, and there will be an allocation process for not-for-profits. And this is for attractions or cultural venues. And this one is a group of folks that have not been able to apply through other mechanisms because again, they didn't meet the criteria. And on that, they're going to be working closely, they meaning the county, but the application process, the review process is all going to be done through Visit St. Pete Clearwater. And really want to commend Terry on our staff, who's done a fabulous job of shepherding this process and working with OMB and the various individuals to make that happen. So that is a process that's going to take place between now and the end of December because that's when all the money has to be distributed. And I think the number from yesterday was about $3.4 million that was set aside for those not-for-profits. And then we're also working closely with Creative Pinellas in that process as well. I think, even the reports that you've heard today, there's some sense of normalcy coming back, whether it be the type of advertising that we have, whether it's, that we've got people interacting in a face-to-face mechanism. The fact that this meeting is being held face-to-face, it's not fully normal. I don't know what that looks like, but it's getting there. And I think for us, it's like how do we adapt and be able to bring the industry along with us from that aspect. Leroy touched on several new tools that I think are important, and I can't wait to be able to show you guys reports from that in future months. Again, the key data I think is really cool, especially because it's live. What we show you today may be completely different tomorrow just because it's based on the bookings, but again, gives us a good idea of what's happening going forward. The other one that we mentioned was TravelClick, and from TravelClick's process is to be able to look at booking source, but also the traveler type. So if it's transient or if it's group, and then how are we doing, even if it's travel agent, what are we seeing in that realm as well? So once we get those reports, then we'll be able to share that with you as a whole. And then on the Visa View, and Chuck, I think you brought up a good point. It's only one of the 3 major credit cards. The other ones I don't think have the information as in depth or do not make it available. But the Visa View does, and Leroy brought up the one which deals more about the ad tracking, which I think is important. The other one that we're going to be getting through Visit Florida is more on a quarterly basis that looks at all spending. So literally, you'll be able to go through and say for quarter 1, this is how many millions of dollars were spent by Visa card holders in person in Pinellas County. And then, going through, you can say, okay, now pull out anybody who was a resident of Pinellas County. Now it shows anybody outside the area. But if you want to get a little bit further, you can say, well, tell me about people from Chicago, Illinois. And so it now pulls the DMA and tells you what their spend is. And then when it comes down to, and I love using the restaurant one, well, this is how much they spent in restaurants. And then you can break it down and say, well, this is how much they spent in, fast food. Here's how much was done in, what is it, quick casual. There's all these little little subsets that are there. But the great part of that is that then we're able to go through and look at that and be able to say, you know what, this is important. This is an important market to us. Or one of the things when I used it in my previous destination, one of the things that always popped up was jewelry stores. And I was like, what? But on vacation, and I, we had a jewelry store every block, it seemed like. Now, part of it because we were a big military town, but the visitors were going through there, and it's based on spend. They have to be in the market. They can't call. They can't go online. So again, it's good data to understand and really helps tell that story of what's happening in our community. Very briefly, Tim and Craig are doing a fabulous job right now of following up with the elite events and the agreements with them. I think everyone, I think we've touched base with everyone. There's a few that we still are going to follow up with after the first of the year because they're waiting to kind of see what happens. Other ones, they are moving forward, which is great. It's in fact there's one event this weekend with standing ovations. I mean, even when they talked to us, it was like, these are all the things we're doing to make this so that we're physically distancing. We're doing all these things here so that we're kind of helping in that message of having a safe and responsible event. And we've heard that from pretty much every single event that we've talked to. For our next meeting in December, one of the things that, and I briefly told you about it last meeting, but one of the items that will be on the agenda to talk about and run through is strategic plan. This is going to be important as we go through, and I think early on, I think it was like my second TDC meeting or third when I brought up strategic plan, and they said, someone asked the question, will TDC be involved? And the answer is yes, very much so. There's going to be a lot of people involved in this process because as we move through it, it's going to be critical to outline where we need to go and how we're going to need to get there, and it's going to require a lot of input. I'm scared a little bit because how I've seen this done has involved gatherings of people. So the question is how to do that in today's environment where we still have this interaction because it really feeds off people talking and communicating together. And I know there's ways to do it virtually, but I think sometimes that face-to-face will be important, but then also get to listen to the various different audience segments. So I'll go through that in detail. The company that we're going to be using actually did the strategic plan for economic development. So they're familiar with Pinellas County. The nice part is I've actually worked with them previously on another study as well in my previous life over across the bay. But I did want to let you know that'll be a major topic for our meeting in December. And I think that's it, Madam Chair.
Okay. Anything from the board? Yes, Russ.
Yeah, I have two comments. One is I thought it was good to have the department reports today, an update. We kind of see them on the agenda to look them up, but to have them right here and update us, I think that was very good. I look forward to that again. And then the other thing is, Tony kind of hit on a little bit by saying the number of participants in Zoom are in Travelzoo and all. Maybe we should, how are we measuring the webinars like tomorrow and all, the attendance by industry and by areas of the county? Is that being measured, or how's that being measured? And maybe reported back a little bit to us and that area. And the same with like the Gulf to Bay. She said that there was 53 participants in that. I don't know if that's good or bad over the history, but I think that those are the type of measures that we ought to kind of know, is the major hotels or major attractions participating or not, or are we doing it right? I think it's two measurements I think we ought to be looking at for the whole county as a basis. Thank you.
Great point there, Russ. One is, I know in the past, and I don't see why that would be any different. I mean, Leroy comes back and says, here's how many people we've got registered. Not only do we know how many, but we know who. And what I don't know is, can we actually tell if they signed in and participate? You know, your schedule gets busy and you weren't able to participate, but again, we're able to track that part, and we can go back and provide a report back to this group.
It appears to be a good story. I think we ought to be able to use that.
Anything else? Steve, are you feeling the need to have a marketing committee meeting? I mean, we talked about marketing for quite a while.
Madam Chair, the pleasure of the group. I mean, this was, great information. Hopefully, it was in depth to your satisfaction as a group. That's what we wanted to be able to do. We had talked about the marketing subcommittee, maybe go a little bit deeper. Not sure how much more deeper we can go with that unless there's questions from that aspect that were not answered, or direction. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, especially for those that would have planned to have stayed.
I think we saw very thorough presentations. I, for one, would not have any more questions for the presenters.
And Russ?
I would also comment that in the past, a couple years ago, we had this type of in-depth presentations at the regular meeting and everything, and I think that this and the financial is for everybody, and new members are very important for they hear it. I'd rather see it included right in, even though if we run a little bit longer, I think it's good for all. And I appreciate today.
Good. All right, then.
I do have one comment about Gulf to Bay. I was going to kind of getting into the weeds of things that I was going to mention in marketing, and it covers the fact that we went to the style of Gulf to Bay, and it's been very impressive. But tying to, do we have enough advertisers? Do we have the ability to, beyond just giving a taste to people? Obviously, we're driving them to the website, but other destinations actually include accommodations lists. I think Fort Myers, Naples, or the Lee County Fort Myers group, they actually feature accommodations, and people can have a bit more of a flair. So that starts becoming a little bit different than the handout. And I know that Gulf to Bay handout has the digital part in today's world is extremely important. And we're seeing the distribution drop off, and people do get those in the newspaper deliveries and things like that. But they're bulky, and the people at various trade shows and things, they're not being able to take those back with them. We just refer to them in the digital. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm saying, do we add to it by featuring accommodations or having an insert that features accommodations as such? And yet, how do you balance that with not creating something that's so bulky people aren't going to use it? But just referencing too, I was scanning through, I actually had some pictures of the Lee County one here, but can't put my hand on it. But just if you would look into it, I think it's helpful to get to other industry partners and more accommodations, a broader range of accommodations. Thanks.
Thanks. All right, then we are adjourned.